Rose Cheramie watched the Zapruder film one final time. Then she stepped into the street on May 14th, 1965. She was a woman of psychic visions, visions that had already exposed the truth about Lee Harvey Oswald's alibi. She warned the authorities. She told them someone would kill Oswald before the trials even began. Then the wheels hit her. A bus struck her on a New Orleans boulevard while she crossed with purpose. A terrified witness heard her last words, "I already know who did this." The truth was already in her bones. The shadows had whispered her name too many times. Rose saw the pattern before anyone else had the courage to look. When she died screaming into the asphalt, her body was twisted, not in fear, but in fury, as if her soul refused to accept that the system she exposed would survive without her. Rose Cheramie did not die by accident. She died by silence, a careful engineering of a cover-up that needed her voice permanently erased. She was the link, the one who could connect the dots and shatter the Warren Commission's fragile fiction. She knew the men who waited in the alleyways. She could prove the assassins moved in packs through Dallas on November 22nd, but instead, her blood soaked the pavement. Police called it a tragic coincidence. A coincidence too precise to be random. A coincidence too loud to be ignored. A coincidence that screamed louder than any gun ever fired in Dealey Plaza. Dorothy Kilgallen sat in the interrogation room at Dallas Police Headquarters on November 24th, 1963. A veteran reporter. Her line of questioning had already rattled Jack Ruby so deeply he refused to answer more than 3 sentences. Her notebook contained the real questions: Oswald's connections to anti-Castro exiles, his trips to Mexico City, and the shadowy figure named David Ferry, who appeared in the same neighborhoods where Oswald lived. 2 years later, Kilgallen was found in her New York apartment, slumped over a table beside a half-empty bottle of Seconal. Her hand rested on a legal pad where a single sentence remained unfinished. Ruby admits he had help. That sentence vanished from the official report. The FBI agent who found her preferred suicide over collaboration. The coroner's office ruled it accidental, but her blood alcohol level was dangerously low for someone who drowned in their own vomit while sedated. Her final notebook page showed the truth. 14 minutes alone with Ruby before he changed his story. Kilgallen knew Ruby didn't work alone. She held evidence in a folder that vanished from her apartment 2 days before she died. Photographs of men who matched the descriptions of the figures seen at the grassy knoll. The same shoes, the same suit jackets, the same watch bands captured on footage the night Oswald was transferred. Dorothy Kilgallen's work ended not with a bang, but with a pill swallowed in the dark. A woman who died whispering secrets that no grand jury would ever hear. Let that sink in. Ferry stood before a microfilm reader at the Office of Civil Defense on July 16, 1964. A former pilot whose flight logs linked him to both Oswald and anti-Castro extremists. The FBI installed a hidden microphone to track him. They believed they were tracking a communist cell. Instead, they uncovered a network of operatives who met weekly in New Orleans restaurants, places like the Versailles and the Empire. Days before his death, Ferry told his co-workers a simple truth: "I am a dead man." He believed his medical records would expose the CIA's mind control experiments, but he refused to sign affidavits. He knew the documents would disappear in a firestorm of government redaction. He was found corpse-like on the floor of his apartment. 2 bullets. One entered through his temple. The second was fired from behind his ear as he lay wounded. The autopsy was rushed. A coroner declared suicide within 12 hours, ignoring the impossibility of firing double shots without assistance. At his funeral, men in dark suits appeared. No business cards, no condolences, only the lingering scent of aftershave and gun oil. Ferry was not killed for what he knew, but for what he refused to confirm. He was silenced for honoring a code that required him to protect his handlers even in death. he never turned state's evidence. Because David Ferry died pointing at the wrong targets, his bullets hitting colleagues instead of conspirators. His final breaths spent counting the names he would never write down. If you're still here, you already know more than most will ever know. We have just traced 3 lives erased: a psychic, a journalist, and a pilot. All 3 held pieces of a puzzle that the government spent millions to hide. This wasn't just a cover-up of a crime. It was the birth of a new era of state secrecy. If your father or grandfather grew up in the shadow of the Cold War, they lived through the result of this silence. A world where the truth is a liability and the state can kill with impunity. What comes next is the final purge. Gary Underhill stepped off a train in Dallas in 1967, a CIA operative ready to link the assassination to intelligence services. He never reached the stand. Underhill was found dead in a parking lot with a single bullet behind his right ear. A professional execution. He had warned friends, "My agency killed JFK." He died before that truth hit the record. Then George D. Morin's child, 1973, a close friend of Oswald who detailed conversations about Cuba and a second gunman. His suicide note claimed he was falsely accused, but the timing was too perfect. He was too honest with his friend, too late to save him, and too early to save himself. Mary Meyer, 1964. Her diary detailed her affair with CIA Director John McCone and secret operations in Cuba, found face down with a .32 caliber bullet in her head. The diary vanished. The bullet matched CIA paramilitary units. Finally, Lee Bowers. He mapped 2 men at the grassy knoll who stood too still to be pedestrians. His career ended abruptly. Months later, he was found dead of a self-inflicted wound. He knew the truth, and he knew he couldn't prove it. 7 witnesses, bullet wounds to the head, ambiguous autopsies. None left confessions, only clues. 7 witnesses is not a coincidence. It is a statistical inevitability when you expose a conspiracy so vast it must silence its witnesses. Remember their names, not as tragedies, but as signatures on a paper that got burned. Because the 7th witness always comes forward. In a whisper in the dark. In blood still tracking down the hallways of Dealey Plaza. Waiting for you to notice the pattern. Waiting for you to name the killer. Waiting for you to finish what they started.